Hello and welcome to day 5 of Vlogmas. I'm putting this up a day late because yesterday didn't go according to plan at all. I've managed to record the opening of my advent calendars. I caught up with that, so I'll share that. And I'm also going to just show you just now, I've done a little bit of the No Matter What gnome. I still have another part of the 3rd day to do and the whole of day 5 clues to do. So I shouldn't be spoiling anything for anyone by showing you these bits, but I just thought I'd show you. So each day she's released a bit of the pattern. They're called Gnomey bits. So I've got this one and this one, and then these lovely little iCard bits. They were a bit fiddly to do, but they're fun. Now, as I'm one of the dyers, I have seen a sneak peek of Mr. Knightley, so I know what these bits are for. But still exciting to make. It's lovely actually to do it as we're going, because it's more fun when you kind of know what I like to know what I'm doing, so it's more fun for me to know in advance what I'm making. So I'll show you the advent calendars now, and then when I come back I'm going to talk just for a couple of minutes about grief. So I'll show you that, but I wanted to give anyone a little warning just in case you want to avoid that if you're not in a place or a position to cope with that just now. So, Christmas has always been one of my most favourite times of the year, and I do love it. I love November actually nowadays, that excitement of Christmas. I love prepping for Advent, all those kind of things, but at the very beginning of December it becomes a really tricky time. My mood gets quite low. It gets better after the first few days of December. I start to perk up again towards Christmas, but my dad died at the beginning of December a few years ago, and it was a very sudden thing. He'd been ill about 5 years before that, and was in hospital for months over Christmas again, and it was a really tricky time. It caused a lot of, sometimes I feel like it sounds silly saying it, but it caused a lot of trauma for all of us, because there were weeks and weeks and weeks we didn't know whether he was going to survive or not, and he did, against all of the doctors' beliefs. None of them thought it was possible for him to survive, and we had another 5 years with him, which was amazing. We were really lucky, and I'm so grateful for that time. But then when he died, it was very sudden. Just a matter, we got a phone call in the middle of the night to say that they were on their way to hospital, and I managed to get there and be with him at the end, but it was very difficult. And so the start of December is something that I really struggle with nowadays. I keep going for my girl, but every year it's hard. People say that time makes things easier, and it does in some senses, but it doesn't in other ways. Not when you've really loved someone, and we were a very close family. And I know how much my mum and my sister hurt as well. My husband too, because he was part of the family for a very long time before my dad died. But I thought I would talk just a little bit about things that have helped me or help me. It doesn't always help, especially the very anniversary, that's a tough day. But in case you're going through something, or in case you've been through something and you want to share something that's helped you, because you never know, it might help someone else, I thought I would share what's helped me on days that I'm struggling, just in case it helps someone else. It might not, but at least knowing you're not the only one to feel like that, to feel really low sometimes. So the first thing that happened when my dad died, I don't know whether it was because it was so sudden. Maybe if it had been a long drawn out thing, I wouldn't have felt like that. But I had all these memories flood back, things that I hadn't thought about for years, and I wrote them all down, actually on my phone in my notes, but you could do it anywhere. My intention someday is to get a nice notebook and write them all down so that my daughter has them, because obviously she has no memory of them. She was just a few weeks old when he died, and yeah, so I've got a huge document on my phone full of memories as they came back in the hours and days and weeks after he died. So many things came to me, so I just wrote them all down, and I talk about him all the time to her. Sometimes I think it probably gets to that stage, like, well, no, she does love hearing stories about him because she doesn't remember, but sometimes I do worry that I maybe am a bit overwhelming with the way I talk about him. But at the same time, the people that we love live on through our memories and our stories and our sharing of them and who they were and how they were important to us. So that's one of the most important things, is that sharing of stories. And it definitely helped me remember happy times when I was really struggling. I also, anytime I see a joke or hear a joke that I think my dad would have liked, I text my husband and I share it with my daughter or my mum and my sister, because it's that his sense of humour then lives on as well, and it makes us laugh and makes it feel like he's there with us, which is really important. I think that's one of the hardest things, is when you feel that that person isn't there. So it's nice to share things that they would have laughed at as well. One of the things I can't do yet is listen to the music that he loved. That's something that I still haven't managed to be strong enough for, I suppose. But I do. So when he was ill and in hospital, his workmates, the first time, his workmates gave him a Kindle because he loved reading. That was one of the things that he absolutely always had, a book. And they got him that so that he could use it when he still wasn't very well, but was gradually starting to get better. So I have that now, and I use the Kindle because I love reading too, and it's a nice connection with him. I'm trying to think what else. I made a little list on my phone, but I'm obviously using it to record, so I can't think just now what else I had. My dad was really well known with like lots of family friends about how good his curries were. So sometimes when I need some comfort and to feel like he's there, we have a curry. My husband's actually very good at making them, and he's also good at, another thing my dad was excellent at was cooking fish. So my husband again cooks that sometimes. It just feels like my dad's still there. It's lovely. Sometimes it's those little things that mean nothing to anyone else or wouldn't really matter to other people, but that mean so much to you. It's just important to hold on to things, isn't it? I think, and if you know somebody who is grieving, it's important to talk about that person, because people often try and like not brush it under the carpet or ignore it, but they kind of think, oh, I won't speak about it because it'll upset them. It's better not to say anything. Just let them, you know, like just talk about other things. And actually the person needs to talk. Not always, but you could certainly ask them if they want to talk, because when this person that they love is gone, the last thing you want is other people to pretend that they didn't exist or ignore the fact that they're not there. And it's so much better, even if you end up upset, because that was another thing, having a good cry. Anytime I'm struggling, that's what I do, because I'm a very emotional person anyway. Emotions are never far from the surface. And yeah, I would much rather somebody speak to me and I get upset than ignore the fact. So, I mean, we all have our own ways of coping with things, and I'm not saying that that's the way everybody would be. Other people probably prefer to be like, I'm getting on with it, but that's, if you know the person well enough and you know that that's how they are, that they're more likely to want to talk, it's a good thing to at least ask them if they want to. Because sometimes people are afraid of bringing up how sad they feel because other people don't know how to handle it. Like sometimes I want to talk about my dad, but because I get emotional, I don't want to make other people uncomfortable. So if you're somebody that emotions don't bother, then it's good to be able to speak to someone and say, right, tell me how you're feeling. Doesn't matter if you get upset, just be honest, let it out, because holding on to all that, if you're somebody that does hold on to things, and I am, it's really hard sometimes. We can't do anything to change situations. We can't do anything to take away the pain from people, but just knowing someone cares can make a huge difference. So if you have, as I said, if you've been through the loss of someone, anyone that you love, doesn't matter who, it's just as hard when it's your pet, because they're just as loving and as much a part of the family as anyone else. But if there's something that you do or have done that helps you cope and you want to share it below, please leave you know, a message in the comments, because it really can make a difference to someone else, just knowing that other people have been through it too, and that you're not the only one to feel like that. And I'm sorry that this is probably a very unfestive, very low kind of Vlogmas, but at the same time it's awfully easy to shy away from the reality of things, and it's awfully easy to think that social media and videos and everything, that everybody has a happy life and everything's going well and nobody else has issues, it's just us. And sometimes it's nice to know that that isn't the case, to see the real side of what people's lives are like. Yeah, and I'll be putting up day 6 at the same time, so that might be a slightly lighter one for you to watch after this. And I'm sorry, I hope I haven't made anyone feel upset, but at the same time it's important for me to share who I am and what my life is and what's important to me too. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.